that copying everything still won't work. For a bank, it's better to choose experience in insurance. The scale of the project is the most important thing. In my opinion, having a case study that is successful experience specifically in the client's industry is not the primary factor when choosing an agency as such. Because there may be experience in the industry, but that experience could be at a basic level, for example. If we're talking about successful proven experience as a criterion for choosing an agency, or for choosing in principle a contractor, or for choosing in principle a marketing team, regardless of whether it's an agency or individuals whom you bring in as your marketers, you need to take into account the scale of the project for which you are engaging them. The scale of the project is the most important factor when choosing a marketing team, because the scale of a project in a similar field will help you more than, for example, the same experience, but in a lower level project within your industry. For example, an agency might possess extensive experience working specifically within the highly specialized banking sector, but perhaps only with a rather limited and specific set of available tools and technological solutions. And in order to, for example, solve marketing, operational, and technical issues for a bank, it's better to choose a team that has experience, for instance, in insurance, or experience working in business. Marketing in a business, for example, with a well-developed branch network. So the first thing you need to consider, you absolutely must consider the scale of the project, not just experience in this specific field. And one more thing. An agency may not have the experience itself, but it can hire people who are suitable for your project. This is something you should also pay attention to. Choose carefully, because often people look, for example, at an agency and think, okay, have they worked on projects of this scale or not? And an agency may not have worked on projects of this scale, but there may be people there who have, because they were brought in for that purpose, either for your project specifically or simply to work on projects of a similar scale to yours. These people were brought in. That's why you should focus primarily not on similar case studies in this field, but on the scale of the project for which you want to bring people in. And one more thing about case studies, especially for large businesses. You need to understand that when you select a marketing team based on the principle of case studies in your industry, you have to realize that you still won't be able to copy everything exactly. Because even two identical large businesses or two identical medium-sized businesses, equally well resourced and equally well organized, will still be different, since their ontology, that is their mission, the meaning of their existence, and their way of operating will still be different. And two businesses that are identical, you still won't be able to build them the same way, because you have to take into account this very level. Even if you can replicate the branch structure, so to speak, you can replicate the entire organization, you can replicate the resource provision, but you still won't be able to fully copy the exact same business. What is it that makes two identical banks different? The one who relies more on their own ontology, their sense of purpose, and their way of doing things will be more successful. You need a team for marketing, an agency, digital marketing, web, and experience in a wide range of industries, both the team's experience and the experience of individual specialists.